Renovations for PNC Arena are due to start any day now. And it's not just the Carolina Hurricanes that are going to be affected by this. It's also going to be the NC State Wolfpack. And here to join me to talk about that is Kenton Gibbs from Locked On Wolfpack in this episode of Locked On Hurricanes.
You're Locked On Hurricanes, your daily podcast on the Carolina Hurricanes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey there, Caniacs and Wolfpack fans. I am Jared Ellis, and I am joined today by Kenton Gibbs from Locked On Wolfpack. Welcome back to the show, Kenton.
Hey, I'm glad to be here, Jerry. You know, I mean, anytime we can get together, we still owe those folks from 99 The Fan a butt whooping and some tailgate drinking games. But it's always good to be back on Locked On Hurricanes.
Yeah, and we definitely need to pay them back for sure. That caught me a little off guard, you saying that. But the renovations for PNC Arena have been a long time coming. I believe they're supposed to start back in 2019, but the pandemic, just kind of threw everything out of whack with that. And it's gotten put on the back burner for quite a while. And, they're due to be starting soon. I feel they're probably going to be starting like little minor tweaks here and there. We kind of saw that with the Shake Shack getting thrown in last season. And, the big stuff should be starting in the off season. And, I feel like the Centennial Authority, the folks that own or are the governing body, I guess, of PNC Arena, they've, in my opinion, kind of drug their feet on this to the point where it's gotten to the point where, like, all right, we need to get this started now, because in the lease renewal for the Hurricanes in 2024, they could leave. Right. And just buy out the remainder of the lease. And you go into the arena. It's by no means like a rundown arena or anything like that, but it looks dated. Some of the fixtures and the tile, and just it's not to the standard of modern arenas. And that's what Tom Dundon is wanting for the Hurricanes. And they want a modern arena, one that doesn't look like it's from the 90s or early 2000s, and
absolutely.
One thing is all the talk is about the Hurricanes, because they're the main money draw, I guess you would say, for PNC Arena. Wolfpack, more so across the street at Carter Finley Stadium. But the Wolfpack plays there in PNC Arena as well, the men's team. And this is going to be stuff that affects them as well as the Hurricanes. And I was wanting to get your thoughts on just how that's going to affect the Wolfpack, and what's the talk around the Wolfpack fans and whatnot for their arena experience.
Well, I think that this is the situation with this, quite honestly. Number one, I'm a huge proponent of get our men's team back in Reynolds. I'm sorry. It's just the reality. But even beyond that, I think that this is a situation in which I've said this from the beginning, and I'll always stand by this. The Canes have put a product on the floor that fans want to come see, that fans want to follow in to see. One of the best teams in the league. They're right there every year in the Eastern Conference. There's a lot there. As far as Wolfpack men's basketball, there hasn't been a ton of talk about what needs to happen or what shouldn't be happening with the PNC, because it's more so a focus on this team has to be better. This team has to put a product on the floor that makes people want to be there in particular. But if we are talking about the upgrades, it's exciting because all of NC State's facilities that were lacking behind are getting the upgrades, right? The baseball team in Dale Stadium. It's to see what that is going to be, right? To see how epic that's going to be from what it was to where it was like, listen, we get it. It's Avon has made do with this, but we can do better. And then the improvements being made there. To see Carter Finley is Carter Finley. It's iconic. It's legendary. It's seen the Rolling Stones. It's seen Beyonce. It's seen them all. you name it,
Mm-hmm.
they've been through the card. And then you look at the PNC, and like you said, it's not bad by any means, but it's just not on pace. It's just not on par with some of the upper echelon, stadiums that you look at around not only the NHL, but even in college basketball to a certain degree. So it is, nothing ever hurts. Getting things better never hurts your team. It just doesn't. In terms of recruiting, in terms of fan engagement, in terms of all those things, improving your facilities doesn't hurt. But this isn't something that a lot of Wolfpack fans have been looking at like, finally, thank God, the PNC is something we've needed for years to be improved.
Yeah, obviously, the team just needs to be better in general. And one thing, I was thinking, I didn't even think about the recruiting aspect. I don't even know why that didn't cross my brain. But yeah, the recruiting aspect, getting guys in, and they see whenever it's done, the party deck, on the second level, and all the new stuff, inside, the revamped entrances and just everything that's going on. I think that will be, at least, eye candy for the kids coming in. It's like, oh wow, this place looks freaking cool,
Absolutely.
And one thing that was my initial thought was, the Hurricanes are obviously, pushing to host a lot more stuff. We got the Stadium Series coming up where we'll be roommates yet again, sharing a stadium. And, they're pushing to host a lot of stuff. I know there's pushes, for draft, hosting that again, All-Star game again. And, that is going to start with, an updated arena. And, do you feel, that NC State could be hosting more ACC events or stuff like that, whenever the renovations are done, they can be like, hey, look at all this, you should host events here, no matter how big or small it may be.
I mean, I think that's definitely a possibility, simply for the fact that of course, we look at the ACC moving their headquarters from Greensboro to Charlotte to begin with, right? So that already gives you a mountain to get over in terms of hosting things, because while Raleigh is the capital city, it's a beautiful city. City of Oaks, named one of the top cities to raise a family, named one of the most beautiful cities in America every year. It is not Charlotte in terms of attraction, in terms of nightlife, in terms of sexy, right? Yeah. Let's be honest, what you need to raise a family is different than what you need for, like, hey, people want to be here. They want to see this just for a little bit. But again, this doesn't hurt your chances. It doesn't hurt to have that thought of, hey, if in dissolving divisions, as we're currently doing in the conference, and having these little pods, is it potentially a situation in the future where we could say, you know what, let's have the pod that includes all of the North Carolina teams. Let's have that part of the conference, or the conference tournament rather. Let's have that be in Raleigh. I mean, it's not far enough from any of the teams. It is the biggest and best facility. Nobody has a true home court advantage there per se. Let's do it. You know what I mean? So it is definitely, again, the reality is these renovations that are coming to PNC is a good thing. I don't think, at least, there's no negative spin that you could possibly put on this. And trust me, sometimes Pack fans can find something negative to put on anything. And this is one of those moments where Wolfpack Nation should be elated. We should be excited because, again, yes, it's a minor detail in the grand. It's some minor details in the grand scheme of things. But the reality is, again, if you're in the world, in the words of Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. If you build it, it's not just talking about recruits. It's talking about the things that you're talking about, potentially having more drafts, potentially having more exciting things here. And then when you talk about having more exciting things in Raleigh, that's where you look at potential expansion teams in other leagues coming to Raleigh as well. So again, I think the Wolfpack Nation should be extremely excited about this. I think that Raleigh natives, the city of Raleigh, and the state of North Carolina as a whole should be excited about the PNC's renovations. But again, from an NC State sports angle on this thing, you can't be anything but happy to say, hey, it's going to be a little easier to sell guys on what they're getting when they come here. It's going to be a little easier to sell. Now, of course, the number one thing in recruiting is winning. That is the number one thing in recruiting. But again, it's like if you're talking about a partner, right? Just they say that most folks heal like Wolverine if their partner's bank account is right. Listen, that's important, but good looks don't hurt either. You know what I mean? It don't,
exactly.
The ability to cook and clean don't hurt either. The ability to be emotionally available don't hurt either. All those things they're not the main thing to some people, but they're nice. They're definitely good bonuses.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good bonus because you're trying, like you said, field of dreams. You build it, they will come, and folks will know, like, oh yeah, this, you got this place in here now. They got that rooftop bar. They got all this stuff. While the game may not be as good as you'd want it to be, you can at least go there and have fun. And then another thing with it is in talking with the Hurricanes team reporter Walt Ruff about this a while back, it's not just PNC that's getting redone. It's the entire area around it. They're going to be trying to build up, and because it is kind of empty aside from Backyard Bistro and Wendy's over
100%.
there. Yeah, and then there's that little shopping center or whatever across the street that I've been in once. But
I hate to cut you off, but let me just say this: if Wendy's is considered one of your fine dining establishments by your stadium, that's a problem. No offense to Wendy's. I just had me some Wendy's yesterday. No offense. We're not getting paid to advertise for y'all, so I ain't gonna say what I had or whether or not it was good. But the reality is, you need more than that, right? You need more than that. You talk about, for example, if you look at the city of Cleveland when they talked about the LeBron James effect and how much it meant to the city for him to be good, one of the main things they talked about was all of a sudden all these restaurants start popping up, all these bars, all these clubs, all these things start popping up in the area. Again, the Canes are doing their part. The Canes are doing their part, bringing some real good hockey to the area. They're doing their part. And it's a very simple equation here of like this getting built up. We're in a basketball hotbed of talent in the Triangle. You're in a basketball hotbed. People call North Carolina the hoop state for a reason in terms of some of the best high school basketball being played. So when you're
BetOnline.net is your number one source for all of your sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional and amateur league out there, from football to basketball to soccer and esports. We've got it all at BetOnline.net. And if you love sports podcasts, you can find those at BetOnline as well. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to get your betting fix. So head over to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. BetOnline, where the game starts.
When you're looking at what this means, again, basketball in terms of what this means in recruiting, Central North Carolina is a hotbed for basketball talent. North Carolina is known as the hoop state in terms of high school basketball. We play some of the best in the world. So with that being said, again, all of this doesn't hurt you, right? It doesn't hurt you to keep all the folks flooding in to play for Word of God or whatever school in the area is. It doesn't hurt you in terms of bringing the guys in from Charlotte or from Kinston, which is the greatest producer of basketball players per capita in America. This is a very simple equation to me, right? Bringing these upgrades will bring in better players. Bringing in better players will bring in more wins, brings in better players. So Wolfpack Nation should be excited about this. Canes fans should be excited about this. I'm sure there's a lot of overlap between those two. Everybody should be excited about PNC getting some much needed upgrades.
Yeah, I think really everyone's excited about it. And then, one thing, for NHL player surveys that's been talked about in the past is how there's nothing around PNC Arena. We're talking about, as much as we love Wendy's, if that's considered one of the main dining establishments, by your arena, you're probably doing something wrong. And that's always been a complaint that there's nothing around there. And I feel that, you talk about, recruiting and bringing guys in, like, all right, there's, something to go do after the game. I know they're college students, a little bit more restrictions, than an NHL player, but,
Absolutely.
all right, let's rather than going over to Backyard Bistro or whatever, for something to eat after the game, they can go to, I don't know, whatever new place, opens up, there's going to be more options and stuff to do over there. And that's going to bring more money in, not only to, the local economy, but the Hurricanes and the Wolfpack, because like we were talking about with the arena, there's gonna be stuff there. People will want to go not only for the games but for the experience, and I think that's gonna be, I think it's gonna be really good just for that entire area and both programs, and one program and one franchise there in the area.
Let me tell you something. Now, for any of the listeners who are new here, or who don't know me well or intimately, I'm from the west side of Detroit. I'm from Hockey Town, baby. I love me some Red Wings. You know what I mean? I love the Canes too. The Canes are while the Red Wings are kind of rebuilding and we're trusting the Yiser plan, the Canes have been the team that I've been rocking with. But let me tell y'all something now. One of the best things about Red Wings games is, again, all of the things in downtown Detroit, all the Michelin star restaurants, all of the amenities, all the other stuff that goes on, all of the memories that you make, all the traditions that are to be had, right? Like, realistically, if you're talking about NC State basketball and all that, it's not ideal to win the game and then immediately go down to Hillsborough Street to, celebrate and all that. Hey, why wouldn't you just throw a party, throw the thing, throw whatever right there at the PNC? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you have that type of environment going on there? So again, I'm these improvements made to not only the PNC itself, but the area as a whole. It's exciting. It's one of those things that you look at it and you say, hey, it's been needed. We've been waiting on this, but man, I'm geeked up about it.
Yeah, exactly. I really am. And you talk about, all the stuff, around you. It brings me back, to when me and my friend, when we went out to Charlotte for the Panthers game against the Buccaneers. It's right there in the middle of downtown. There's stuff around there. And, we're talking about, the Burial Brewing Company, their tap room there in Charlotte. We're like, how close is it? If it's, close, we'll go. It was like 10 minutes away. And we're like, yeah, we're going to go and, go do things. You go, what there? A lot of jerseys. And I think that's going to be, it's just going to improve the overall experience for basketball fans, hockey fans, and concert fans, whatever happens to be there. But, we're talking about the area getting built up around there. I feel like it'll be kind of what they got going on in North Hills, maybe not as big, but something similar to that, what they're trying to do over there in Seaboard Station now. I feel like it'll be similar to that, but what are some things you're looking for that?
I'm gonna tell you, I'll stay right out a little past North Hills, and I think it should be bigger in terms of like the actual amount of stuff. A lot of what we're seeing in the development with North Hills is like literally one or two really massive buildings that are going to be like the partly shopping but mainly living type of situation. If you're asking me what is my wish list for PNC and for the area around there, I think it'd very simply be just some really, really good Hurricanes themed and NC State themed restaurants and bars and all that. I think that would be really awesome because, again, as time goes on, things change. And as things change, they evolve. There's so many traditions from way back when, from the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, that no longer exist in many schools and all that. And this isn't a thing about erasing tradition. It's a thing about starting something new. If we're talking in terms of NC State and NC State sports, neither of us were born last time NC State has won a conference championship in football, baseball, men's basketball. It's time to start something new. When we build this thing up, and when it's time to go win that championship and go down to whatever restaurant or whatever thing, and all of a sudden that's the Wolfpack's place, and that's after we get ourselves a huge win, after we get ourselves into a tournament, after we get ourselves that win, we get to celebrate there. That's what I want. Again, it's, to me, I don't have anything in particular. Now I will tell you, one of my favorite places is Sullivan. So if they go ahead and throw Sullivan's down there, sprinkle a little second franchise down there, I ain't gonna be mad at you. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna be mad at nobody if the second Sullivan's pop up in there. I like a steak the size of my back from there, medium. But anywho, the reality is, I just like to see a lot of restaurants, a lot of things to just a lot of restaurants, bars, things to attract people, and mainly have some of it be focused and detailed in terms of like, use the area that you're in, right? Use it. This is a niche market where you got fans of a specific team. Use that to your advantage. I want to see some stuff the same way that Sammy's has, the Steelers. Every time that there's something going on with the Steelers, Sammy's is packed out with black and gold jerseys. I want to see the same thing for all of the places around there. And I want to see Wolfpack memorabilia hanging up. I want to see Hurricanes memorabilia hanging up all over the place.
Yeah, that's going to be a big thing. You talked about the Steelers. Well, I thought of the Hibernian over on Falls of Noose, that being a Steelers place as well. Even though I'm not a fan, but yeah, I think it'll be. They really need to play up to where they are. I think that's going to be big. Not every restaurant, of course, has to be Hurricanes and Wolfpack theme, but I want to see those bars and restaurants that are really playing up and like, all right, you look at the Texas Tech game, a few weeks back, that sold out pretty darn quick. And not everyone could get tickets or afford to get tickets, but maybe they can afford to go to that bar and grab a bite, grab a drink, whatever, and do stuff like that. And you're still like really close to the action. So when it gets out, you can still be a part of that. I think that's going to be really, really fun for the teams. And one thing I would love to see, I vaguely remember folks talking about it. I was a little kid then, but when the Hurricanes had a team store, I think it was in Crabtree, way back in the day, but they had one like outside of PNC Arena. I think that would be cool if you had something kind of over in there of like a little. You go back to North Hills, something like that. Have like a outside team store, or something like the Red and White shop, for the Wolfpack, something like that over there, and really again playing up to where they're at. I think that would be really cool, and. There's going to be apartments and stuff in there.
Of course,
and depending on, they'll probably go more the North Hills route, and you probably have some Hurricanes players living there.
I was just about to say those things are probably going to cost you an arm, a leg, and your firstborn child.
Oh my God, yeah. Oh yeah, especially if they're like North Hills, you're going to have to sell a kidney.
Listen, I saw those prices for the North Hills apartments, and I said, wait, so like you don't get to own it? Like it's not a little bit in your name, just a little bit,
Nope.
But I digress. Hey, more power to them. If people are paid to live there, more power to them.
Yeah. And you'll probably see like some single guys for the Hurricanes living there, but I think I really want them to play up to where they're at. That's going to be big. Going back to the stadium series, how they're having the fan fest on the Friday before the game downtown on Fayetteville Street. They're closing down all of Fayetteville Street and fan fest like the entire day. I'd love to see them do events like that, whether it be for the Wolfpack or the Hurricanes, whenever that stuff gets built. I think it'd be really fun, draw new fans in, whether it be for the Hurricanes or the Wolfpack. Someone's hosting an event, they got like, oh wow, this is freaking cool. I want to go to this game.
Absolutely. Lean in again. Not only is it leaning into where you are, but I mean, again, it's very simply these stadium upgrades, right? If we really want to like really get into the weeds about it, I mean, does it help anybody set a down screen? Does it help anybody's one timer? Does it help to clear the net so that our goalie has good vision of what's going on in front? No, right? It doesn't. But what is it for? It's for the fans. It's for the people. It's for the folks who are coming in. It's for the folks even potentially in free agency and looking at, wow, this is a nice place. I can see myself playing here for the next few years, whatever the case may be. It's very simply, this is a thing that we're looking at and we're getting excited about it because, again, it never hurts to make a thing better. It never hurts to help something evolve. And again, I'm looking forward to the new things that evolve out of this evolution. I'm looking forward to the new traditions that are born out of the new setup that we have because, I think that the Hurricanes, I think it's their time. I think any year now is going to be their year. They're knocking on the door right now. They're right there. They're knocking. And, unfortunately, some people can break the salary cap to keep the door locked. We're not looking at anybody in particular in a bay that rhymes with Smampa. But, they're right there knocking on the door. We're expecting them to kick it down in a year now. It would be great to see, some of the ways in which these stadium upgrades and different things in the area. And like, oh, man, I remember when we won that Stanley Cup and what a time it was down on Trinity Road or what a time it was down there. It'll be a really, really great thing to see.
Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. And, you know, just joking about, the Panthers or, how David Tepper brought music to Charlotte and,
Hmm.
that whole thing that he had to say,
Yeah,
even though Taylor Swift still didn't put a date in Charlotte there. But,
hate to see
uh,
it.
it, I feel, it's also just, not only good for, the Hurricanes and the Wolfpack, you have that nicer stadium or arena. I think you're gonna draw more just events outside of sports, more
Right.
concerts and uh whatever's they want to
Yeah.
host there. Like you had the Apex Legends tournament there earlier in the year. Host more stuff like that. You put a nice stadium in there and build stuff around it. Like, oh man, we should host another Apex tournament here. Or
Absolutely.
Shania Twain should have came to Raleigh instead of Charlotte and played at PNC Arena,
Yeah. Yeah.
stuff like that. I think it's not only going to benefit the teams, it's going to benefit everyone, and it's something that I'm glad is finally happening. I think it's way too late, but you do look at former Hurricanes ownership. That's not really a surprise there.
Hey, listen, you know what they say, better late than never, right? It's
Hmm.
finally coming. It's long overdue, but at least it's due now, right? At least this time, at least this has been agreed upon to make this happen. So again, I'm if I'm looking at this from the Wolfpack perspective, it's exciting. It's good to hear. This is again one of those things where, again, we're in a basketball hotbed. It's time. We
Hmm.
need to do more, be more, get more talent, get more recruits. Again, the Hurricanes are right there. It's going to be their time any day now. Any off to a hot start. What are you, 7-2-1? Is it?
No, we just lost against Toronto last night. What's the record now? I was literally talking about it earlier, recording today's episode. They are 8-3-1.
8-3-1. I was close. I
Yeah,
was close.
you're
I was 2 games off. Anyway,
yeah.
8-3-1. Again, they're playing some great hockey. It's like I said, this is long overdue, but thank God it's finally here.
Hmm.
We're going to see these improvements. I'm looking forward to checking out the PNC, man. I'm looking forward to, and I'm not, not for nothing, not to be a little selfish here, but maybe they could throw in some improvements to the media area a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah, I wouldn't be upset at that. You know
They
what I mean? I
probably would.
wouldn't be
They
upset at
probably
a
will.
little something, for a little couple trinkets in there for the media folks. I'm not saying that our media room is trash, but garbage adjacent maybe. But just I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You know what I mean? Don't shoot the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
yeah. I feel it's just gonna be across the board upgrades.
A rising
Just
tide lifts all ships.
yep. Yeah, just bringing it out of the late 90s, early 2000s and bring it into, the 2020s. I think that's going to be really big for the Hurricanes, really big for the Wolfpack, and just really big for anyone that hosts an event there. I literally just thought about this. You talked about, North Carolina being a basketball hotbed. Host a high school basketball tournament there, when it's all
Absolutely.
said and done. I think that would be really freaking cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, this is the opportunity is here. The opportunity is here that when this stadium gets the improvements, when it gets better, when there is um a more polished presentation to roll out, there needs there
You're
needs to
good.
be more there. I remember when they were hosting NCAA tournament games
Hmm.
at the PNC. And it
Yep.
was dope. It was amazing. Even fans that weren't fans of the Pack or fans of the boys in baby blue or the boys in the dark blue or whatever, it was still a great time to see so many folks who were just basketball fans be there. It was still a great time to see the tickets were dirt cheap because it was like a first and second round games, rounds of 64, where you see
Hmm.
a upset here and there, but for the most part, the really great teams are going to get blowouts there and all that good stuff. It was good to see. It was good. So again, with the better that this stadium looks, the more you can do, the more you can show up, the more you can have a great time there.
Yeah, I would not. When everything is said and done with this, I would not rule out PNC Arena hosting some NCAA tournament games. Again, first and second round stuff. They're not going to host the Final Four or anything like that, but
Right.
I wouldn't rule that stuff out. And like you're talking about earlier, the way ACC is getting restructured, hosting some games there, and I wouldn't rule any of that out.
I'll tell you this: with the way that we're seeing demographics change, and with the way that we're seeing certain cities shrink and grow, and all that, and Raleigh's steady projection of growth and all that, I wouldn't be too surprised if 10, 15 years from now, this was a city that hosted a Final Four or two. I wouldn't be all that surprised. Like, yes, it's normally reserved for super major cities and all that, but we've seen, I mean, didn't San Antonio get the Final Four not too long ago, or am I making that up? I want to say it was, I don't believe it was Dallas or Houston. I know it was a city
I
in
think
Texas.
they did. I just don't remember if it was the men's or the women's. But
Oh,
San
okay.
Antonio definitely had it.
But
For
I'm gonna tell
sure.
you, even if we get the women's Final
That's
Four, I
still going to be a
mean,
draw.
I was just about to say, I'm not gonna complain about that. This is,
And with as good as NC State women's
and I
basketball
was just about to
is,
say,
could you imagine
yeah.
if they had a home court advantage in the Final Four, like the Rams and the Bucks in the Super Bowl? Something like
Yeah.
that. Oh my
Yeah,
Lord, that'd be awesome.
UConn got for some reason a couple years or
Mm-hmm.
last year, in
Yep.
that regional, and not complain about anything. Again, the Duke's AD Nina King kind of made some interesting choices with that bracket, but that's neither here nor there. We're beyond that. We're beyond that now. We're golden there.
They did. It was in 2018 NCAA men's Final Four.
Okay, yeah, I knew San Antonio got to find. And listen, you can say what you want about San Antonio. What you're not going to tell me, what you're not going to lie to me and tell me, is San Antonio is a supermarket that just needs things like that. You know what I mean?
It's a
So
basketball market because of the Spurs, and that's it.
absolutely. And that's my point exactly here. We can create that type of environment and atmosphere here. We can create that type of draw. We can create that type of lure in Raleigh in terms of basketball. The Triangle already has a ton of lure in terms of basketball with the Battle of the Blues and all that. With, again, us creating, producing almost as many NBA players as any other state. Like, that is the lure of basketball in Central North Carolina already exists. Let's just capitalize upon it.
Yep, that's going to be a big thing, capitalizing on all the basketball, capitalizing on the success you're having in hockey right now, and they're doing it. And I can't wait for these renovations to start. I think it's going to be great. Once they're all said and done, it's going to be very interesting to see how the traffic is going to be over there. But yeah, that's a bridge we cross when we get to it. Kenton, thank you for
Absolutely.
coming on again. I know we're both looking forward to these renovations. But in the meantime, where can everyone find you on social media?
Oh, absolutely. Wherever you are hearing me and Jared talk to you right now, you can find me at Locked On Wolfpack, and you can find me on Twitter at LO_Wolfpack. You can also find my personal page at TGIF_Ken. Please be aware, you are not getting Ken the sports journalist, analyst, any of that. You're getting Kenton the man there, so there will be things other than Wolfpack sports going on there.
Yep, and it is hilarious. And obviously, you guys can find the show on Twitter and Instagram at LO_Hurricanes, and myself on Twitter at Jared Ellis _96. And we will talk to you guys in the next episode.